So can I have a volunteer? Just somebody, come on, don't be shy. Talk about confidence, show that you have some. Thank you, up you come. People will spontaneously clap as well, it's amazing. Okay, you've got relatively flat shoes, that's brilliant. Can I get you to just stand here for me? That's perfect. Put your feet shoulder width apart. I like that, I did that and you tucked it, you sorted yourself out. Yeah, I need a bell, that's all. Okay, so feet shoulder width apart. Put one foot forward so the heel and toe are in line with each other, but yeah, slightly more shoulder width. That's lovely. Okay, excuse me. And just take a deep breath in. Cool, and just breathe out and just look straight down at your toes there. If I can just move around here slightly. Just look straight down at your toe. Okay? Good. Can I get you to just bend the knee just like so the lock is not there anymore? Not really bent, just so it's not locked. Does that make sense? Good stuff. Okay, I want you to focus on your toe for me. I want you to use your imagination for a moment. I want you to just imagine that your foot will just start to feel heavy now. And just imagine your foot just really pushing down onto the floor. Really feel your foot there, just really pushing down onto the floor. Imagine how it would feel if that foot were just glued to the floor, so much so that if you were to try and lift it, you would just not be able to. In fact, try and lift it and find that you can't. And the more you try, the more it just sticks and it glues and it locks itself tighter and tighter, and the toes just rigidly glued and locked. And that feeling spreads to the heel as the heel locks to the floor too. Really try and lift it and find you can't. Now you're not pretending, are you? You're actually trying to do this. And the more you try, the more it just glues and sticks and locks. And the strange thing is this, if I take this hand here and I place this hand in your head, in the same way that your foot is glued to the floor, the hand sticks and glues and locks tight to your head. Now I can move it easily, look. But if I put it back, it locks 1,000 times tighter and tighter, so that you can't lift your foot or move your hand. Now that's got to be quite a strange experience for you, hasn't it? Have you ever experienced that before? Yeah, you are quite surprised, aren't you? Yeah, quite a shock to the system in some ways. Now the weird thing is, your hand will only unglue and your foot will only unstick the moment that your mind is ready to allow you to go into a really deep state of hypnosis. And when I say a really deep state of hypnosis, I mean that you won't fall over, you won't go limp in any way, you'll stay upright and solid as you are. But the moment your hand unloosens from your head, your eyes will close and you'll just go into a wonderful place of safe hypnosis. You'll stay stood, you won't move in any way, but you'll just instantly go into a deep place. And until your mind is ready to take you there, your hand won't unglue. Even if you try to unglue it, it won't unglue. Until you're ready, and as soon as the hand moves away now, you can just go into a deep state of sleep down, that's it. And you can just stand and sleep and float and rest. Beautiful. Good. Now, there's going to be a chair behind you in a moment. It's not yet there yet, but it will be in a moment. You'll feel it against the back of your knee. Just there. Excellent. And in a moment, I'm just going to ask you just to really slowly sink back down into that chair. And as you sink back down into that chair, that can be the moment that you go all the way into the most wonderful place. There you go. You can feel yourself just going there, going down, going gently, going deeper and deeper, so that every nerve, muscle and fibre just relaxes down, completely down, deeper. Good. And I'm going to talk to everybody for a moment, and with every word I say, with every breath you take, you can just allow yourself to enjoy this feeling even more. That's it, Helen. You can really enjoy this moment. And you can listen to what I'm saying as I'm talking to other people too. And you can take this on board as well. Okay. Couple of things for you on this. This is not specifically an induction, it's a convincer that I turned into induction. Okay? And I will explain, just out of interest, put your hand up if you know why that worked initially. Yeah, obviously you do, Steve. Excellent.
Because there's so much weight being put on.
Yeah,
it's impossible to move.
It's postural, nothing else. Okay. I'm not going to bring you up and out of hypnosis myself, I'm going to ask you to bring yourself out, but just bear in mind that when you come out you're going to feel absolutely refreshed. It will be like you've had a really good sleep, a bit of a massage. You'll feel really clear, your head will be clear, your neck and your shoulders, everything will just feel really good, and you'll be ready to enjoy the rest of your day. That's it, in your own time, at your own speed, all the way up, all the way out, fully refreshed. And back to normal. Thank you. I wanted to start with this. This is a footlock. I believe the origins of this are Kreskin. Well, the beginning of this is a man called Kreskin. If anybody hasn't heard of Kreskin, I would seriously advise having a look at the man's work. Some really interesting stuff. Some interesting thought process and interesting work that he did. Interesting character all round, in fairness, isn't he?
If any of you are interested, the film The Great Buck Howard, featuring John Malkovich, is based upon the life of Kreskin. Kreskin was kind of like the first ever mentalist, used to have a regular slot on the Johnny Carson show, had a number of kind of mentalist type of magician, but he was also a very famous whistleblower on the field of hypnosis, and so he wasn't always that well regarded by the professionals of the hypnosis field. But exactly as James said, he made a very important contribution to the field of hypnosis, and it's worth checking out as well.
Yeah. Even though what he might say won't necessarily sit well with some of the things that you know, very worthwhile paying attention to what he says and having an open mind. Just on a brief aside, I think sometimes in life it's a really good idea to take everything you know and just pop it on the shelf for a few minutes. And so you can have a much clearer look at some other information without all the presuppositions that you already have, yeah? And this is a good example of that. Sometimes it's a good idea. This thing is very simple. If you were to ask somebody to put their feet shoulder width apart, and you place one foot heel and toe in line with the other, i.e. I'm not going to even attempt to draw a foot, but that's the line, like that, yeah? I work out if that looks like anything else. One foot is clearly much bigger than the other. I think that's very important to understand. It only works with people with abnormal feet. So you start them off feet shoulder width apart, and again part of the process at the beginning of this is the whole compliancy thing, moving them around. Come and take a step over here, stand like that, just relax your shoulders, take a deep breath in. Just getting them used to following the instructions that you give them. Good place to begin. Move one foot so it's heel and toe in line with the other. What I now need to do is I need to shift their weight over this foot without making it too obvious. Yeah? I don't want to make it too obvious that they're doing this, because then there's nothing for them to hold the belief on later, or to hang the belief on later. So what I do is, can I borrow you just for a second for this? I'm not going to do anything particularly, but if you just stand in that position.
Could you just move?
Oh, sorry, let's move so Keith doesn't tell me off
Because
again.
I can't see.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So what I do is, and again, this is very much a technique that I bring from being a magician and a pickpocket. I want to move her body without her awareness of moving her body. And the way I do that is I give the mind something else to occupy it with at the time. So I cover the fact that what I'm really doing is I'm doing this, yeah, so I'm moving her from here to here, but I cover that by the idea of saying, oh, excuse me. Okay? It's a subtle thing, but it hides the reality, which is I've shifted her weight
What did you do
over
with
her
me
foot.
then?
Exactly that.
Did you?
Yeah. QED.
I was going to say it was where I was you were talking about my
We
knee.
didn't pay Helen to say that or anything.
No, I'd already shifted your weight having
Before the knee.
before the knee bit. So initially the feet are straight, I shift the weight as I moved round, and then in this position I just said, just take the lock out of your knee, which just again shifts the focus. But
Also, look where James's hand is all that time. He's got his hand right above the shoulder blade, so it can't be pushed back.
Yeah,
and he keeps you off balance.
I'm
by
in
holding it.
control of your balance, that's the key here. I don't, even when I move back round again, I never let go. So I've always got a hand on. Yeah. Now in this position, with the weight shifted over the foot, if I don't allow her weight to move, she can't lift her foot up. She can do this jerky business, but just in a sense of smoothly trying to lift your foot, you can't do it, can you? It's just not possible. Now what I'm wanting to do here is I want to create a belief. Yeah, that's the aim of this, is to create a sense of belief. Now, if I'm just holding her here, giving her instructions, it's flipping obvious that I'm stopping her from moving. So what I have to do is I have to engage. So that's why I come in here and I'm attentive to her foot. Just have a look at your foot there, really focus on that. So this becomes, I'm not pushing against, it's literally just resting there. No weight at all. I don't want the person to even be aware that I have this physical contact in that sense. I know they are aware, but I don't want them thinking about it. So all the attention is here on the foot. Now I start the suggestion process. Yeah? Imagine your foot feels heavier. Just start to notice it feeling heavier. And I'm looking now to see if the person starts to apply weight, because they're doing what I'm asking them to imagine. So these are good bits of feedback for me. Is the person following my instructions? It's not actually necessary that they do, in fairness, but it's a good indicator for me of how this is going to go. Imagine your foot getting heavier. Start to feel it really pushing down, locking tighter. Notice that. Feel it pushing down, locking tighter and tighter. Imagine how it would feel if, no matter how hard you try to lift it, you just can't lift it. Again, the embedded command. I like direct suggestion. I was just going to say, you can't lift it, can you? Now, this is the key here. That naturally, if either she's just going to try and lift it, in which case I wouldn't need to hold on at all because it's there, it's locked, or she'll try and shift her weight back to then lift it. If she does that and I'm stopping her, the awareness of that will be drawn up here. Her mind will suddenly become aware of this, and she'll be going, "You're stopping me from moving back." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine a vertical line here. And my hand is not going to move back from that line, it is only going to move up that line. So as she tries to push back, my hand is slowly going to disperse the weight vertically. So in her mind, she's going to be thinking that she's moving backwards, but all she's doing is moving up. And it just tricks the brain. As soon as belief kicks in, the moment, and I'm just really gently testing with this hand. As soon as I can feel that the weight is no longer pushing back towards me, but I can still see the strain, I can let go. And now it's purely suggestion. And now I've got that working, I can step away, I can walk around, and I can continue the suggestion. Really try harder. You're trying, aren't you? I'm also now going to use my own tonality to suggest quietly little things. Yeah? It's a bit strange, isn't it? And it's my voice and my facial expressions that triggers her response of, yeah, that's weird. And it's important to understand.
Helen actually said, "I can't believe I'm doing this."
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm doing this based upon something that you said and you fed into that.
I didn't even notice you said that either.
Yeah, but I do it. I mean, Adam's witnessed me doing this. I do it all the time. I constantly feed in this emotional state, this concept, this feeling. This is where the belief aspect is. What I'm now going to do is I'm now going to link, because this is still physiologically led. Yes? This one isn't, though.
That's when I said, I can't believe I'm doing that.
Yeah.
That was
The thing is, you also said about the heel, because beforehand you were moving your heel just a bit.
My heel was up, but
You
my
were doing
toe
this.
was down.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you said your heel sticks to the floor.
That was because I wasn't specific initially. Because there was a degree in her mind of ambiguity. Because I said at the beginning, focus on your toe. Some people will take that as I'm just looking at the toe, but it's my whole foot. But because she took that as her toe was the bit that was stuck, her heel came up. Well, that's fine. I'm just going to add another suggestion in. that notice that your heel locks down too.
And when you do the initial sticking, something that James Tripp does with the hand sticking is, under those situations, James is very direct because he's already got a lot of the mechanisms in place. But you could also say, I wonder which part of your foot is stuck the tightest to the floor. Is it your toes or is it your heel? So whatever they answer, it's going to give you something, and then you can say, well, imagine that stickiness in your heel now beginning to spread to the front of your foot too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, James comes from that more sort of ambiguous language background where I don't. I come from a much more direct suggestion base. The next bit is this idea of linking concepts together. And this is something I've done a lot in the performance side of my hypnosis, which is a really simple sentence, but it's such a powerful one. In the same way that. In the same way that you can't lift your foot up, your hand is stuck to your head. Really straightforward, really straightforward. There's also a real cheekiness here, which is, again, this whole idea of slightly confusing the brain. The brain is an interesting thing. In magical terms, we do a lot of this almost reverse engineered thinking. That you have an experience, and then you try to remember the experience, but because memories are reconstructive by nature, that you misremember things all the time. So a classic one is this. The hand will be on the head, and I'll say, in the same way that your foot is stuck to the floor, your hand is stuck to your head, and it sticks tighter and tighter, and the more you try and move it, the more you find it sticks. Within that sentence, which has happened fairly quickly, I haven't actually asked you to try and lift it off yet. And before I try and lift it off, I say, I can lift it easily, but when I put it back, it locks 1,000 times tighter. And at which point, the brain creates this bizarre little memory loop that convinces you that it was stuck already. Yeah, there was no actual proving of that. Yeah? But what I'm doing is I'm linking these concepts together to create this belief, and that's the key.
Can I point out something else that you did as well, that you mentioned, and that is that James asks for and publicly asks the person to verify that they are trying. Okay, it's something that whenever you're doing convincers, you should definitely be doing, and that is to get evidence from them. Okay, you're definitely trying, aren't you? Yes, I am trying. Just because that shows and gives you both a credible level of, okay, so you're trying, but it's stuck, and it verifies and informs that that's definitely happening, and it's a very important linguistic loop that you use well.
But understand the absolute necessity of your congruence and confidence in asking that question. To ask the question, you're really trying, aren't you, has to be asked with a total belief that A, they are trying, and B, they can do nothing about it. Because if your question has a tone of, are you? That is a suggestion, and the person will go, oh no, I can. Oh yeah, oh it's gone now, it's stopped. The amount of times I've seen a hypnotist at that stage fail, if you like, when they've got a response, and they've gone, are you really trying? In a questioning way, and the person has gone, oh no, I suppose I wasn't really trying, was I? Yeah?
So I've been trying the arm lock on friends at work and stuff. So when they go, oh yeah, I can do that, that's down to my confidence and my voice and my expression.
Not partly, potentially. It can actually also be down to either a lack of understanding on their part of what the instructions are in the first place. And it might just be that they haven't actually engaged in that moment at all, So it's not entirely, but the bit that you can do is you can make sure of, and you can go back round. It would be useful if we had time for you to see me do a demonstration which has a concept of failure in it. In other words, where the person isn't a great subject, and I work on them, and it would be useful to watch that dynamic go on. But we don't actually have time for that because I've got other stuff to get through.
Claire, I'll just add with regards to that. Tell them only to try and only to challenge it when they are sure that it's in place, that the phenomena is in place. So say to them, only when you are sure that your arm is locked into place, try and bend it.
Yeah.
Okay? if you say that to them, then of course they're only going to try under those circumstances, and it's a no-fail suggestion. Okay, so if you linguistically loop that in such a way whereby they only try when they're certain, then it's going to remain there, and you're going to have the phenomena that exists.
Let's push on, because we could get caught up very easily on phenomena itself. The only other part of that was the point of the hypnosis was induced, if you like. Personally, I think hypnosis started the moment that belief kicked in and you couldn't lift your foot. I think that is already hypnosis. The fact that later on her eyes closed and her body relaxed back into a C is just another level of suggestion. That's my view. The one thing I would mention on that, which is quite a useful idea, is this concept of binding the person. So, your hand will only unglue from your head the moment your mind is ready to go all the way into deep hypnosis. What you've now basically said is either you go into deep hypnosis or you're screwed. Yeah. Similar thing works very quickly with a fist lock. This is less surefire than the foot one is in some respects, but it's quite interesting. If everybody just makes a fist, but very specifically, roll the little finger in all the way around to a fist and put your thumb round here. Okay, so your thumb's going to be on this side, tightly round. Okay? I won't bother going through the whole suggestion process, but what I want you to do is very specifically squeeze these two fingers as the fist. Yeah, so when you make a fist, you can either pull all the fingers in, or you can concentrate particularly on these two fingers, as if you're going to punch something. Okay? Also, very particularly, lock the thumb in tight. And the way this suggestion, would you mind actually, we'll do this really quickly, would you come up for a second?
I don't understand.
It doesn't matter,
Okay.
It really doesn't matter at all. Okay? Tight, lock it really tight. Just there, okay? Squeeze it tight, fingers tight, lock your thumb in tighter, tighter, really tight, tighter, tighter and tighter. So tight now, so tight, the more you try and open the fingers, the tighter it locks. The more you try and open your fingers, the tighter it locks. It gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And the more you try and open the fingers, the more it locks tighter and tighter. Really try and find it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And your hand will only open when you are truly ready to go really deep into hypnosis, properly down. Your hand will remain closed until you are absolutely ready to just give in to hypnosis altogether. And as soon as you're ready to give in to hypnosis, you'll find your hand opens, your eyes close, and you can just really sink back down deep. You can be safe. You can't open your hand, can you? It's locked, isn't it? Can we sit down? And when you're ready to go into hypnosis, when you're ready to really go in, you'll find your hand opens, your eyes close, and you can just go. There you go. Good. Excellent. Just take a few deep breaths, and maybe one really deep one as you come back out and open your eyes. You just feel really refreshed. Nice, well done. Works for a similar reason, as, in the sense that there is something physiological going on this, but there's also some very specific suggestion that I'm giving. If you make a tight fist and put your thumb in the way of your fingers, and if you don't move your thumb but just try and open your fingers, your thumb's in the way. So right at the beginning, I make a very strong point of locking these fingers tighter and tighter and tighter. Lock your thumb tight, really tight, tight now, tighter and tighter. And I begin to anchor this thumb tighter and tighter. So tight now, the more you try and open your fingers, the tighter it gets. The more you open your fingers, the tighter it gets. And now you've got this battle with the thumb pushing in that direction and the fingers pushing in that direction, and bugger all happening. So now you've created belief.
You touch the fingers an awful lot on the thumb.
Yeah, I started off just by making sure he understood, partly because he started off by saying there was a language issue. Started off by making sure he knew to think about these two fingers particularly, to lock these fingers in place. No, you could just, as long as they understand, that that's what they're doing, that they're squeezing this top half of the hand. I'm not fussed about the little fingers, it's this part of the hand that we're interested in. Squeezing this in and locking that in. And now I concentrate on the thumb. Lock it tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter. Now try and open your fingers and it locks tighter and tighter. Because now I want to create this battle between the fingers trying to open that way and the thumb pushing that way. And you create a double bind essentially, I suppose. Okay, and now I also create this next thing, which is your hand will only open when you're ready to go into deep hypnosis. So you've got a choice. Right, very simple. I hope you got that.